sort of intro, just seeing if the settings are all set up right. That's not playing, that's playing, good. Alright. Now is there an X live? How does this work? Oh. Ah, look at that. But hear me out. You're the only one. Follow me away tonight. Is this good? Does this, like, I don't know. Testing stream. That's cool. I want to mute that. Here, let me get my laptop. If Nathan Sharp's watching. Actually, maybe I should have my face a little bigger. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Now, how does this work? I'm not seeing it on my laptop. Oh, here we go. Music is not loud enough. Alright, we'll see if that's too loud. Again, playing it by ear. Oh, I got a message. I guess I'll respond to that on live. That's the thing, so I went live. I'm just gonna do my normal thing, which is listen to music and think about everything all at the same time. Yeah, we have this. Don't need, don't need, don't need. Maybe, but also good health. Don't need. Blueberries. There's some other things. Without you. So basically, there are indeed health benefits to caffeine, but every drug, in my opinion, like every drug in my opinion, they are corrective measures to get you to the point where you don't need them. I don't think we should have to rely. Oh, here, that is a little loud. This isn't Periscope? Hey, what's up? Yeah, X is weird, right? What's up, Andrew Online? Yeah, so like every drug, I believe they're corrective measures to get you to the point where you don't need them. I don't think we should have to rely on any substance at the end of the day. Reduced risk measures and antioxidants can be found in blueberries, moringa, spirulina, just eating healthy, being vegan, honestly. And regarding sleep, you just get better at it over time. I did just get some sleepy time tea to try because my mind won't shut the fuck up recently. And so, that's that. Oh yeah. Cool. Oh yeah, I was working on this. Wow, I've been simping for him hard, yikes. There was a thing about he talked about 5 things, including blockchain, AI, synthetic, what did he say? Synthetic biology? Prosthetic? There are 5 pillars. Ah, the 5 pillars. What? Oh, because it was on the other account. No? Really? Like, I didn't do this? Where did I put it? Lavitz online? Oops. No. Alright, point is, oh, it was in a Notion page. So let me, I don't need that. Talk about nanotechnology, blockchain, AI.
Oh, the specific type. Regulate us. So these are all.
Yeah, synthetic biology, blockchain. Oh, quantum computing. What would be what do I want to see quantum computing used for? That's not negative. Because a negative is password cracking. People are going to want to crack passwords with it. That's nothing new. I mean, other than just solving hard problems that we've been stumped for a while, we'd have better computing. That plus AI, bro, that'd be wild. What is the future of humanity with AI? And then synthetic biology? Oh, what I want to... I'm not gonna do that on stream. Spaceships in the morning of light. We're only here for one night. You're the only one in my eyes. I forgot the words. So something about quantum computing. I don't know about this one. How do I like? Here, let's get the.
Extension or regulation technology. And really think about this entire setup in the back of your mind and see where it goes and follow the threads and see how those threads are moving very quickly.
Oh, he did do synthetic biology specifically. Right here.
All right, synthetic biology is where you start using technology to manipulate and change organisms. Okay, so basically you do things like de-extinction.
De-extinction?
You can do things like add new capabilities. Like, for example, what if you want to regenerate human tissue? Or what if you want to be like a chameleon and have cells that actually can change color? In fact, there was an experiment that was done where they took human...
Oh, so I was wrong with saying nanotechnology specifically for that. Hold on. That's right. Not cellular repair exactly. That's more like, that is a separate thing. Oh, I should probably keep the chat open. I don't know if anyone's even talking. Twitch, nothing. Multi-stream, no. See, Twitch, is that going? Cool. First time eating. It's very cool. Yeah, Periscope. I know, it's funny. Wait, so do I have a, like, chat on X? How does this work? There is a chat here, so I need to keep this open. Can I pause this? Nope. No. I can't. That's annoying. Hey, we should be able to pause our own view of our stream, by the way, Elon. Please, thank you.
Tissue, and they took cells that were in octopus, and they were able to hybridize those cells together and give the human tissue the ability to look like a chameleon. So it actually could change color. So, because if you see videos on YouTube of like an octopus floating around, an octopus can change the color of its skin. So actually, you potentially could add that capability into human tissue. So it's an extension of our capabilities. Now, you'll notice something that each of these things can be used in one direction or the other. You can use it in an extension direction to a specific topic, and that's the whole field of inquiry. And what's really cool about this is that we talk a lot about interfaces. And so there's this topic like brain-computer interface, or in general, human-computer interface.
I'm not a fan of
a specific topic, and that's the whole
brain-computer
field of inquiry.
right
And there's
now.
actually a phenomenal center at Carnegie Mellon University that studies human-computer interface. And normally when we think of a human-computer interface, we think of things like a mouse or a keyboard.
Yeah.
Or somehow can understand our brain waves, and we can think to text.
Ah, yeah, big. Including physiological and human-computer interfaces. Yeah, I like that. I see on synthetic biology, nanotechnology, and quantum computing, I'm not as familiar with, and it's been a year since I've watched this video. Almost a year. I watched it when it came out. Nanotech, here we go.
A very closely related topic is nanotech, and I also say material science.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. This is something that the press doesn't talk about as much, but actually I think is just as meaningful, and it has a huge connection to all of these topics. Why? Because what nanotechnology basically allows you to do is change any physical thing into a computer. At some point, you can do that. So any surface, so imagine that you're at a restaurant, and at that restaurant you have a table. Okay, so you guys are together. So ordinarily your experience at a restaurant is that you have menus. Well, what if the surface itself is computer? And you sit down and you just put down something like an ID, or you put down a loyalty card or something like that, and then you get a contextual menu right on the table. The entire surface just changes over. It becomes kind of like an e-ink display and shows you all the menus and all the interesting things. And if you're a loyal member or like a military member or something like that, you get a completely different experience than if you are a regular person. So everything basically is a computing surface. Well, wait a minute. If you have AI, that means that AI now has a larger universe of things that it can interact with. And if you have synthetic biology combined with nanotechnology, then you can talk about embedding computing capabilities into biological systems and vice versa. So these two together would actually cure cancer, just as an example. Why? Well, because you can know where the cancer is, what's not cancer, and you have machines that are small enough that they can take over the biological processes of humanity and basically use your immune system to attack any cancer.
Other than that, real quick.
So you get that for free, and that's just a small thing when you start connecting these technologies together. In terms of regulation, you can imagine these nanotechnologies with synthetic biology to actually be used to regulate human behavior or human biological processes like cure epilepsy, or if there's undesirable people, these technologies could be used together to regulate them. So for example, with pedophiles, you have things called chemical castration. You can actually use this much more effectively here. So you'll notice something here. This is neither good or bad. It's neutral, and it really depends upon your philosophy, and it really depends upon your viewpoint. Blockchain technology, in my view, belongs in this category because what blockchain technology effectively does is it is the thing that can be used to create the rules in this new world order.
Yes.
How we create rules in a physical sense is that we write them down on a piece of paper. Those become laws. Okay, and then the laws have social consensus.
Oh, wait. I got sorry, I have to... I'm not used to this. Did I get a chat? I did. Sorry for bothering you. I want to offer promotion of your channel viewers, followers. The price is lower, flexible, convenient, chat panel, everything in your hands. I'm not paying for anything. Thank you.
And then if you violate them, we punish you in some way. Okay, there's some form of punishment. So there's thought goes to paper, paper goes to law, law goes to social consensus, and then you have a punishment mechanism for compliance. Does this work well? No. 1% of the American population is in prison for violation of these laws. We question the validity of the laws and wisdom themselves. The social consensus is milky at times, doesn't work so well. Well, in a digital system, you have this idea of replication of natural law. So, man law, natural law, what the hell does that mean? Natural law, like physics. So you imagine something like gravity. You discover it, and you can react to it, but you can't change it. And whether you know it or not, it's there, okay? You can't change natural laws. So the laws of physics are immutable. What digital systems allow you to do is take something that you would usually enforce through a social consensus and then treat it as if it's immutable and it cannot be violated. So there really isn't a notion of a lack of compliance, and there really isn't a notion of punishment where and when you can do these types of things. And that's really the superpower of blockchain technology, is that it lives in that space of a synthetic natural law where it can take things that we would like to have, encode them in just the right way, and then suddenly make those things immutable. Well, why is this relevant to the other components? Well, if you have nanotech capabilities and synthetic biology capabilities, what you can do is digitize the physical.
And why would you
so
do
you
that?
can put in your biological systems and your physical systems, that table at the restaurant, your car, all kinds of things. Basically, a computing layer that will act according to these laws and social consensus that we have as if it was the laws of physics. Treat them like gravity and say you cannot violate them. So it's almost like magic. Okay, so if you say, okay, Bob can't go into this area, his body physically will not let him go into that area. So let's say a restraining order or something like that. Sees the person, can't approach the person. Whoa, there's some free will considerations here. Oh no. You see, this is the point of these emerging capabilities. Then we also ask, where does the thought and the social consensus come from to inspire the laws, the rules that we are governed by?
Oh.
Well, if you have AI growing exponentially, you have basically an AI lawmaker.
Oh, I
And
don't
it can
know
have
about that.
cognition at a
maybe.
scale that no human has ever seen before. The AI lawmaker needs technology to enforce the law, and that's effectively what blockchain is doing. So we have the biggest social experiment in the world going on right now. We're going from 20th century capitalism to the ESG movement, the Klaus Schwab special, okay? And this is not a small deal, guys. Every single industry in the world is getting transformed into this. We're talking about $150 trillion conservative price tag. There is no governance or regulation layer for ESG, which is why a lot of people believe that ESG is actually a one world government. And before you call me a conspiracy theorist, I'm just saying this is what some people believe. And why they believe it is, if you're telling me you're going to regulate all the carbon, you're going to regulate all the supply chains, you're going to regulate all the manufacturing processes, you're going to regulate the hiring practices of companies, you're going to regulate how people interact with each other, you're going to regulate the governance of companies, you have to be sufficiently powerful in the old order, we talk about the physical sense, this order right here, to punish people for a lack of compliance. Well, the only entity that would be powerful enough to do this on a global scale would be a one world government, which is why under ESG you have things like CBDCs. Okay? So what's really happening there? That says a central bank issues the currency and controls the flow and distribution, and then you combine it
It's
to
an
social
old
credit.
broken paradigm.
When you have these things together, what translates to is if you don't do what the ESG order says, your money gets shut off. Just like your Facebook page gets shut off if you don't say the things that Facebook likes. Just that simple. So that is the current trajectory of the 21st century without blockchain technology. Just that simple. You need a regulation layer, a governance layer, if this is the goal. You have a panopticon where the AI, especially a quantum-enabled AI, will have the ability to know if you're in compliance or not. And if you're not in compliance, there needs to be a punishment system, soft or hard, so some form of meta-government to basically enforce compliance. So things like shutting off your money or just basically restricting your freedom in society. And we saw how freedom could be so radically restricted so quickly during COVID. So this is where the world is heading. Now, what blockchain technology does is it actually gets rid of that, but it allows you to keep goals, if those are wise or unwise, much the same. Why? Because instead of having human beings decide, you have protocols decide. So no one is in charge. China's not in control. The United States is not in control, but it can act as a regulating layer. And it's a regulating layer with teeth because these capabilities, these other four, extend blockchain technology into the physical world. They digitize the physical. They basically give you the ability to operate, act on, and change a physical system into natural law and basically compel people accordingly. Now, if the protocols are fairly designed, then you get things like equality by design. You get things like guarantees of rights. Okay? So, for example, if you have a privacy right or these types of things, you can actually guarantee those rights because the protocols can force that, and they can't be influenced by a government, corporation, or a particular agency. So this really is the conflict of our time, because the problem is that capitalism is going to give us these four things, and we have no say in that. Capitalism is developing AI because who first person to get it becomes the world's richest person and most powerful person. Yeah. Capitalism developing quantum computing because it solves very hard problems, and the first people to solve those very hard problems, again, make windfall money. Synthetic biology, this is transcendent of capitalism. Synthetic biology at its most extreme, especially when paired with nanotechnology, actually gives you immortality, which is the single biggest driving force in human cognition. In fact, there's the denial of death from Ernest Becker. Makes a phenomenal case about this. Okay, this is why you build pyramids. This is why you create religions. This is why you do all these crazy things, because you don't want to die. Well, synthetic biology actually can make us live forever, or damn near close to it, especially when paired with nanotech, because nanotech can clean things up and kill the cancers. Okay, so these four things are happening. We can't stop them. There's too many people. There's too much stuff going on. The problem is that they don't have a regulating layer, and ESG is a subset of these four horsemen of the 21st century. And people are very concerned that they need a regulating layer. So what's happening is that there is this meta government being constructed basically in secret, now actually much more public, to act as a regulating layer for these types of things. And you see it with the movement towards CBDCs and social credit. You see it with all these transnational agreements that are being signed. You see it with unification of languages. You see it with the efficiency of a one world response to things like COVID, where most people kind of got along with these lockdowns and other things. It's happening. It's not an optional thing. And what concerns me is that I don't elect these people. I have no say in their value set. The people that are building these things have not really talked too much about equality outside of using it as a weapon to make people hate each other. And there's no preservation of rights. And when people who are designing these things that say China is the model of governance for the world and we should look up and admire it, it scares the hell out of me because they seem to be more than comfortable with gulags. So I know these four things are coming, and I need a regulating layer for it. So this is one of the reasons.
Psychological analysis that argues that human civilization is ultimately an elaborate symbolic defense mechanism against the knowledge of our mortality. What? Okay. Becker proposes that the fear of death motivates much of human behavior, particularly the creation of and adherence to cultural beliefs and worldviews, by believing in something larger than ourselves and our individual lives. Oh, you mean like God? Such as religion or nationalism. Neither of those are God. We seek to transcend the simple fact of our mortality. Becker suggests that these systems of belief offer a sense of immortality, either literally or symbolically, as a way to cope with the fear of death. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like completely technological. I mean, definitely with the new stuff, but we need good thought leaders. Please, thank you.
Reasons why I'm in the blockchain industry. There are a few, but this is probably the primary reason that when I thought about life and I read these types of books that covered these topics, I thought a lot about the consequences of these four horsemen, these four technologies, and if combined together, their emergent properties of how they're going to radically and fundamentally change the human species. And the problem is, without a proper regulating layer, we have two options. You either create a one-world government to control them, and it's very limiting, and generally speaking, humans, when they do that, it looks like a pyramid. A very small group of people at the top live like gods and kings, and the difference between the kings and gods of old is that these ones at the top are immortal and super smart. You can't get rid of them. And the people at the bottom basically are slaves to this society. And the difference between old and new is that your thoughts are now known by the system and regulated accordingly. Congratulations. I don't want to live in that world. I don't think anybody wants to live in that world. Protocols, on the other hand, horizontal system. Everybody's equal. It's one big circle. Okay? So it doesn't matter where you live on the circle, you have the same rights and the same access to the system. And then basically you have protocols with AI regulating that system. You know where people stand on this by what they say. So you have the Sam Altmans of the world in OpenAI. They live here. They basically say that only a small group of philosopher kings should have access to this technology, and they're going to decide what you get. Okay, so maybe you can use it to generate pictures of cats, but you're not going to be able to use it for your business unless they tell you specifically. When people live here, what they do is they have things like open source. Okay, they have transparent governance. Okay, they want to share knowledge. They give everybody equal access. They care about the developing world. There's a lot of characteristics here that exist. That doesn't mean we don't care about the environment. That doesn't mean we don't care about sustainable business practices. Doesn't mean that we don't care about proper governance. In fact, I'd argue that this side cares about these things far, far, far more than the people who claim to care about it on the other side of the argument. People here think they're just smarter than everybody else. Everybody here is cattle. And because they're the philosopher kings, they're going to tell you what to do. And they're going to use these four horsemen, these four capabilities to basically dominate and control the human race at a scale we've never seen. The point of blockchain technology is to liberate us. Now, it's an obvious thing. It's a resilient, decentralized system that gives you control of your money. It gives you control of your identity. It gives you control of your data. It gives you control of your voice. So for voting, it gives you control of your privacy. Okay? Shouldn't that be just awesome? Shouldn't everybody want that? But then you see on Twitter, you see on media, you see floating around all these people basically saying there's no use case. What they're really saying is we don't value our sovereignty, the self-sovereign part of that. We don't value our control over these things. We're totally fine with living in a system where these people at the top basically run everything. And they'll just decide what I'm allowed to own. They're going to decide who I am as a person. They're going to decide how to share that with other people, what level of voice I have, and ultimately my human rights. Okay, my freedom of association, commerce, and expression. The ACE thing. They get total dominion and control over that. What a blockchain does is it says no one has control over that. We are going to make natural law into digital systems human rights. So in essence, this is the terminus of the Enlightenment. It's basically where all these thinkers in the 17th and 18th century were headed towards. Some sort of engine that would define immutable characteristics of humanity and encode them in a way that religions, governments, and individuals could not violate. And doing this in the right way, with the right protocols and AI behind it, basically guarantees that we live in a fair world, in a transparent world, in a world where the human condition improves. I don't see a way out of this. I don't think any reasonable person does. And if you actually read these books, you'll start seeing the pieces connect together. These people don't hang out with each other and know each other, okay? They may have met each other at parties, like I suspect Church has probably met Schmidt. Kissinger's met everybody. But the thing is that when you read these things, you start realizing that there's an inevitability behind them. And when you really follow what these give us, it will be so transformative that the world will look in 2100 nothing like what it looked like in 2000. It will be inconceivable. And the problem is that these things have the power to impact your free will. They can control you at levels that humanity has never seen before and violate you at levels that humanity's never seen before. Even in the most pervasive Stasi, KGB-esque environments in the Soviet Union, they couldn't truly know your thoughts. You could be pretty good at hiding them. But when we look at technologies like this, they can, whoever they is. Even in the most aggressive dictatorship of the 20th century, the most ruthless leaders, the Stalins, they couldn't force you to do something. They could just punish you if you don't. Gulag you, kill you, and so forth. Well, with technologies like this, it's kind of like The Last of Us with the cordyceps taking over your mind. They can. Okay? People are going to argue we should. Bob the pedophile, we should have something in his brain that prevents him from going to schools and hanging out
That's not the solution.
Parks and these types of things. You're going to see that argument when these technologies exist. Not today, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to happen. Okay? And they're going to say we're here to protect. Very paternalistic. You. We're here to save you. How quickly did we go from 2 weeks to slow the spread to papers, please? The world changes rapidly when people want it to. And we can smell and see the CBDCs and the social credit coming. We can smell and see everything being environmental. Now you have environmental justice. Notice everything is justice now. It used to be just social justice. Now you have climate justice, environmental justice, these types of things. Oh boy, ESG is happening 100 miles an hour. Every country in the world is in some way cannibalizing the capitalism of the 20th century in here. And not because they're all super evil. There's certainly some people who are. It's because the world's running out of resources and things are getting harder and harder to do. You see? And they view this as a liability, and they say, we need to protect you, we need to save you, we need to save the world. So that's where we're going, and that's why I'm in blockchain, and that's why this is not about tokens. They're an essential component of adoption and the governance and transparency of these systems, the operation. But the value of them in terms of USD, the fuck does that matter? Do you want to be a billionaire in a world like this? Look at the story of Jack Ma. Boy, how powerful he is. I think at his all-time high, he was worth $40 billion. Now he's taking a break in Thailand learning Taoist poetry, trying not to get shot in the back of the head because he pissed off the people at the top. So don't think at all that this is about money. And have some collective thought about the future of humanity. Whether we live in the pyramid or the circle is completely up to you.
That's the point. You shape reality. Your thoughts, your love, your actions shape reality. The way that you frame the world is how your world is. Now you can either continue to be afraid and perpetuate the last 2,000 plus years of, monarchical hierarchy. Elite few know better than the rest of us. Or you actually read the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita and these sorts of things. Anyway, I think what Charles Hoskinson proposes here is salient, is intelligent, is wise, is transcendent of himself and his personal ambitions. He himself has just been focusing on blockchain. He himself says he doesn't want to be president of the United States, nor do I. I just want to help try to figure out how we can move forward and transition from the old paradigms to the new. That's why I'm involved with the new paradigm navigators. That's why I'm involved with all the other things that I am. And I have hope. I believe we're going to do it. We just need to continue to have more conversations like this, please.
And what you consent to. If blockchain technology is subjugated and controlled and dominated and shut down and these industries are taken over, by default, the regulating layer will be this. And the watchdog will be an entity that's smarter than every one of us combined, never sleeps, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and can read your thoughts. How about that for the new KGB? If we have this right here, there will be constraints, and the enlightenment will be reflected in those constraints. And everybody will have equal access. The people born in the developing world will have the same capabilities as people in the developed world. Proper governance that you have a say in. You have a share of knowledge. Everybody gets transparency, and all the systems are open. So as new innovations come, we add them to the circle, and everybody gets them, as opposed to innovations following this model, where it's just at the top. And they decide who gets access to the secret knowledge. They decide who gets access to everything. See? So I wanted to make this video. It's very philosophical. I'd encourage you to read those 4 books and really
Thank
think about
you.
this entire setup in the back of your mind and see where it goes and follow the threads and see how those threads are moving very quickly. Every billionaire, including myself, investing very much into immortality. Got Hoskins and health and wellness.
Hey, let's go.
Because you know what? That's human nature. Okay. Sam Altman, OpenAI, just put $180 million into his own immortality company. Jeff Bezos has done it. Bill Gates has done it. Everybody's. And
What?
Elon Musk is throwing a bunch of money at this. There's so much money going into synthetic biology. Nanotechnology, every military in the world, every government in the world, every
I mean, I'm not
manufacturer in the world is
surprised.
dumping massive quantities of
I
money
just
into this.
wasn't
And they're
thinking
getting
about it.
real good, real quickly. We will have working quantum computers doing novel, interesting things within this decade. And within the 2-3 decades, doing a lot more things.
So this
AI,
decade,
you guys have all seen it with GPT and the exponential growth of those types of systems. Now everybody believes within 5 to 10 years this is going to be the most transformative thing. So we see these things happening. And the blockchain industry is getting to a point where it's developing.
I will reiterate. Please chill with accelerating AI. You're living in your hyper-localized world while the vast majority of humanity is being left behind. Like, can we help catch them up first and address the social conflicts? They're already terrified of technology. And the more that you have these accelerationists that, yeah, just go, tech is going to figure it out. Like, yes, it's a half-truth, like all things, but if you take an extreme at any point and you go too fast and you rush the timing of things, you get disastrous consequences. We've seen this in history. If you just and so the point is accelerate yourself and evolve your own consciousness. I don't think we need technology initially, right now, at this moment, to help us with that. But we need uh, the people who are already doing the amazing work in various spiritual circles and avenues that are helping people. Like, I've been helped tremendously with my mental health and trying to frame and understand the world and realize things aren't as like crazy and paranoid as I thought. Like, yes, things are happening, but I fundamentally believe that everyone is chiefly operating through a frame of good, that they're doing good. So it's a matter of understanding their frame and then asking questions and maybe bringing them back from the extreme. I also tweeted that yesterday, I believe. And then I proceed to say that Dune and Battlestar Galactica were onto something, but I don't believe that any piece of art or prophecy is exactly what we need. I foresee a beautiful world where we harmonize with AI and each other, but we need to chill. And maybe not try to align AI before we align ourselves. I linked this where basically the events that spurred the jihad against the machines didn't begin until other men with machines began conquering and oppressing them. People had become so reliant and taken the machines for granted for so long that all it took was a small number of men with malicious intent to upturn the whole turnip cart. The lesson is beaten into the hearts of mankind ever afterwards that it isn't that machines are inherently dangerous, it's that you can't allow machines to do things for you because it robs you of the vital facilities you need to be a truly free and aware person. This is not an alien concept because it exists in the current moment. We're in no danger of being taken over by computers or robots, but a small number of people with bad intent and the right opportunity could plunge the world into chaos. And without computers, the internet, or many of our modern conveniences, how many of us would even be able to survive? The point is to never allow yourself to be shackled by something that controls you more than you control it. Star Wars never falls into that trap, because as useful as droids might be, people of one race or another still have a very direct hand in the affairs of their lives. They aren't waited on hand and foot every moment of every day, and thus there's no reliance that would breed the kind of it cut off, but you can continue that. And I talk about prophecy because there's a lot of weird 1,000+ year old prophecies talking about today, whether it's the age of Aquarius or Revelations or blah blah blah, and it's like, these things might be kind of true because they utilize astrology. There's probably some psychedelics involved and just simple metacognition. And I say it's simple, yeah, it's complex, but also we're talking about 2,000 years ago when, in order to learn things, you had to travel to a library and read and probably learn another language to be able to read it. And now we're learning things like that. I grew up on the internet, access to everything, and I spent a lot of my time in middle school and high school not doing my homework, but just diving through Wikipedia rabbit holes so I could try to understand everything that's happening, because there's some weird shit going on. Yeah, can we please talk about it? And so this person, they had a good take. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing, but they said the worst thing about AI is that everyone is now paranoid and suspect of everyone using it, especially since AI are trained on you, your and the work, your work and the work of others. It's sad to see that this is just another problem this revolutionary technology is bringing to us. Again, it requires thought leadership. Then I posted some reflections to an article where I said it's brilliant regarding the realistic visions of virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence integrations, and the crypto crowd incidentally co-creating a crisis akin to the 2008 one that inspired crypto in the first place. Don't be evil doesn't work. We need to create systems so that we can't be evil. Think atomic bomb. And homage to Charles Hoskinson for saying that in a video a couple of years ago. I think it's brilliant. Humans, yes, we all have a shadow. We all have some evil bits in us, including myself. And it's a matter of understanding them and loving them, and then when they arise, just realizing like, okay, this is trying to tell me something. Like, you know, when I think about all the evil that's happening in Palestine, in the Palestine-Israel conflict, in the Ukraine-Russian war, what's happening in other places of the world, I get kind of angry. To be angry is kind of silly about it. It solves nothing. So instead, I take that and I go, okay, I am very passionate about this, so let me utilize this energy to try to find solutions. And that's what the last couple of weeks on me being on Twitter has been, is like, I'm just going to write out my thoughts, and I've been iterating. Yeah, I've been deleting and moving things around, but the point is we're trying to figure out the path forward. And then I also included a tweet where I was replying to this person. And I said it would also help to have a mainstream consciousness revolution and its reconsideration or restructuring of value and virtue and productivity, opportunity and availability, synchronization or the cohesion of diversity, mind and body, the diversity of mind and body, not just skin color, but the way we think and culture and everything. Reconsideration of a moral pathology, safe artificial intelligence merged with robotics, singularity integration. This was kind of a disjointed thought I hear at the end. Maybe I should delete. I'll leave it there. But yes, can we please chill with accelerating AI?
Global scale technologies through things like recursive snarks and improvements to the consensus algorithms and just an all-you-can-eat buffet of technology. So these capabilities, if left to grow freely, will be able to be a regulating layer for these capabilities and create a world where we are what we wanted to be during the Enlightenment, where our rights are protected and we live good lives and each and every person is equal to each other. We don't invest in this. The default situation is here, and we get this. That's what we get. And there's media to convince you that they're here to protect you and save you and take care of you from cradle to grave. Never mind how many people have to die along the way or what rights have to be violated along the way. This is the fight.
And on that, my least favorite thing in the world is ends justify the means mentality. I wrote about this quite a bit. I do not believe in the ends justify the means, namely because to ever assume truly in detail what the ends are is a fool's errand, a nascent mystic solution. And I say this because, you know, when you start to like explore spirituality, mysticism and whatnot, you start to realize that, things like are rhyming. Like humanity does kind of rhyme. It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes and it builds off of each other. And when you see that, it can be very destabilizing. And I've been there where you're like, like this stuff is happening, like, and I need to be the one to be involved in this, and like I need to control and I need to lead, and that's where people then think that the ends justify the means. Because what is happening today with the world leaders, you know, doing ESG and these sorts of things, again, imagine that their frame is one of good. How would doing all of these things be a frame of good? Well, they are looking at economic projection models that we've had for decades, showing that the rate of consumption and the rate of population are vastly going to overpower the amount of resources that we have. I think I'm not going to pull up the graphic now, but it's like by 2040, 2050, we might run out of food if, one, we stop having so many children and stop consuming as much as we are. And so their low consciousness, like, gut reaction, or not gut, yeah, kind of gut reaction, I don't even know if it's gut, I think it's just a fear-based thought, is, oh no, we need to kind of restrict the supply chain just enough so that people are less incentivized to have children. Because I'm hearing, even from people from India, friends from India, where they have a culture of having multiple children, 3 plus, having big families. You know, because anyway, get in there. And now they're afraid. They feel like they can only have one because of the way things are happening. And this, I don't know if it's by design or if things are just happening, you know, it's just downstream effect of one after the other. Again, I believe everyone's intentions are good, but to operate through the ends justify the means mentality is one, godless, it's faithless, it's fear of an uncertain future, and we're right to be cautious of our current rate of consumption and population and the amount of resources we have. We absolutely are. But the crux of the issue with every single institution ever in existence, well, okay, that's a broad statement, but like for most part, because, you know, they're whatever, is asserting that this new paradigm is the paradigm that is going to last forever, and two, not having faith in our children, in the next generation, who grow up, children, they're just observing everything. They're the ones that can see problems that we can most often. And we're seeing people as young as 5, and especially into like 13, 14, 15, coming up with brilliant solutions. For example, Elon Musk, with his Boring Company, has put out a call for universities across the country to innovate, like, hey, design our thing better, design a better machine, a better method. And they did, and it was brilliant, and I believe he's implementing some of that, at least. That is the sort of thing that we need, and I think people who are in charge, who are over 50 years old, who grew up in a golden age, from 1950s to 1980s, was relatively an amazing golden age. It was a renaissance of culture and art and these sorts of things, but there was also a lot of fear because there was so much change. People who don't understand change and don't like change, very traditional and conservative, they took that as the spirit of the devil is alive in these because things are changing and they don't understand. If we just trust our children, if we trust the next generation, things are going to work out. So for example, food. Oh, we're terrified of food. What if we have hydroponic farming in every city across the world so that every city is self-sustaining with their food? So we save energy and time and money transporting, because the current paradigm is, yeah, we want to feed everyone, so like let's have a few food production facilities, and by few there's hundreds, but let's have a few of them and then just ship the food out. Well, now you're incurring, you know, at least with our current energy system with combustion of fossil fuels, yeah, it does attribute to the changing of the atmosphere, most likely, and I think we should stop. Same with airplanes. I think we should go back to airships. I think the Hindenburg, okay, we had one disaster. Call it quits. How many plane crashes have we had? What about the thing in Alaska that just happened? I don't know the details, but that alone, shouldn't we call for an end of air flight because that happened? Or the Malaysia flight? Or like, airships are brilliant, they're beautiful, yeah, they're slower. They can carry way more cargo, and in fact, I read a thread that talked about the bigger the airship, the more, of course, the more it can hold, but also the more fuel efficient it seems to be. Or like the more, I forget the term, but there's just something brilliant about airships, zeppelins, blimps. We should definitely be pursuing that. And especially today with all the regional conflicts around the world, Palestine being right next to, what's that? That canal, the Nile. Yeah, the Nile, where so much of the world's trade are being restricted there. And same with the South China Sea and the Panama Canal. Using ships that are also burning fossil fuels and things like this. Whereas, bro, just use air blimps. Solves almost every problem related to supply chain in that regard. Yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Fight of our time and our generation. And you have to decide, are you a circle person or a pyramid person? And which side you're on, the totality of humanity will decide that balance. And you know what? That will be the dominant governance system for the foreseeable future, potentially thousands of years. The Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years. Think about that. So, just something to think about. Pretty heady video, pretty philosophical video for today. But something that has weighed heavily on me, at least, and something I think about every single day. From our part, we've already made our decision. We're circle people. And we're reflecting that by the fact that the technology we work on at IO is open source. The papers are open, patent royalty free. We invest very heavily across the spectrum, from research centers at Stanford and CMU to places at Edinburgh. And Cardano is a reflection of those principles. You see things like SIP 1694. It's the first foray into a completely decentralized governance system, which is a model for organizational design. Is it perfect? No, but it's a minimum viable concept that's recursive. So if it's built right, the prior will improve the next. That's why AI is so powerful, because the prior improves the next step, and their innovation steps are very rapid. They have very rapid feedback loops. So I can see a path within 5 to 10 years that you can run a nation state on technology like Cardano. I can see that happening. I can see a path where Cardano could be used to run a national identity system with principles, or a payment system with principles, or a CBDC with principles that protects you. I can see that path. And if left undisturbed, there's enough resources alone in the Cardano ecosystem to actually facilitate and grow that. It's inevitable. We have the decentralized brain. We have the community. We're growing at a rapid rate. We'll wake up in 5 or 10 years and there'll be tens of millions of people. And those people will be engaged and enabled and have a treasury necessary to be able to carry that out and find those use cases and wire that in. What's happening is there is a movement right now. Choke Point 2.0, the global.
What's the term? Transparent blockchain. It's like Bitcoin. Transparent. Yeah, it's transparent, but they're few words to describe the power of Bitcoin crypto in as few words. Because you gotta say few. Like, don't give me this whole freaking description. Borderless, volatile. No, there's transparent. I don't know why I can't recall that, but anyway. That.
Globalist movement, the ESG movement, that recognizes that this model is the only thing that stands in the way of the pyramid. Because nobody's going to embrace the pyramid if there's another option that's better. If somebody comes to you and says, I have a treatment for your cancer, you have 2 options. I can either cut off your arms and legs, or I can give you this pill that has very limited side effects and cures it. Which one are you going to pick? You'd be like, I'd give you the pill. You can't have the existence of the pill if your goal is to cut off the arms and legs. So that's why people are attacking crypto so much these days. That's why you see government reports coming saying there's no use cases. I'd like to believe being in control of my money, my identity, my data, my economic agency, my ability to participate in the world, my ability to restrain the power of government over my life is pretty useful. And I'd like to believe the new business models that come that enforce dignity and transparency and non-sociopathic behavior on corporations is a pretty useful social aspect. I'd like to believe that. But if you come from a position where you think that you're going to be high on the pyramid and you want that world to exist, then of course you'd say there's no use case for these types of things. It's a philosophical disagreement about values at the end of the rainbow. The facts are the same. The ESG movement is here. The whole world is rebuilding itself. There is a desire for one world meta government. It's blatantly clear when you read Klaus Schwab's Fourth Industrial Revolution and you see everything that's being said at Davos, you see what's being said by
How do I pronounce? Oh, because come on, bro. Fourth Industrial Revolution.
the world leaders. It's just a question who gets to sit at the top of the pyramid and how they're going to sort that out. That's the default thing. And the 4 horsemen are there. Nanotechnology, synthetic biology, AI, and quantum computing. They're not going anywhere. We all have an incentive as a species to pursue these things for our self-interest. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to maximize their personal utility. And people want to help each other. And these technologies can be used for profound good. You can bring back the dead. or at least simulacra of them, that are close enough that they're convincing. You can learn anything. You can discover the secrets of the universe.
I don't like the bring back the dead thing. Let the dead be. Jesus said that, and I agree with him.
All these things are at our fingertips. This is fire from the gods. Why wouldn't we pursue them? It's not a debate of whether we're going to do it or not. It's just a question of when and how, and the velocity of these things. And certain things could occur to slow things down. Certain things could occur to speed things up. But over the arc of a century, it's inevitable. And with the advancement of medicine, a lot of us may be around, listening to this today, who in the year 2100 will be a lot older, but we might actually look better, depending upon the velocity of this technology. So this is not an abstract, hypothetical future. This is a reality. The problem is those four horsemen have no governance layer, and the default is not the one we want. So that's why I'm here. I'm a circle person. You got to decide, a circle or a pyramid person. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. This was a long one. Talk to you soon.
I'm a circle person. Klaus Schwab's The Fourth Industrial Revolution describes a global shift marked by advanced technologies merging the physical, digital, and biological worlds. It emphasizes transformative innovations like artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. This revolution fundamentally alters how we live, work, and relate to one another, offering new ways to harness technology for a more inclusive and humane future. However, it presents complex challenges, including ethical considerations and the potential for significant societal disruption. Take that as you will. Alright, what's happening? Cool. Do I have anything else here? I'll just read. I'll read this little thread. What was it, 5 days ago? I just tweeted out music festivals every day forever, because I love music, and why don't we just want to like celebrate and dance and celebrate life? And then this morning I woke up on some new ones. Well, I lit a candle and I was like, wow, imagine if we had candlelit homes. Now this isn't something I want to like enforce per se. I myself, I want my house to have lots of candles. And I have, candle suppliers, because they love to make candles. They love to make wax, whether it's beeswax or whatever. And I want to support them. And I want to have cool candles in my home. Then I imagine children free to challenge paradigms and innovate solutions, which I just talked about 5 minutes ago. Adults asking before assuming, and that goes with how, people perceive me or people perceive anyone. Instead of immediately assuming, oh, this guy's crazy, he's manic, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, how about you ask? And also same adults with their children. What if you ask your child, what they mean? Instead of saying, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, blah, blah, blah. I imagine AI which assists and empowers humanity instead of replace. I mentioned that with the Dune and Battlestar Galactica thing. City lights which don't obscure the stars, because we're all united by the stars, or at least we used to be. We used to look up there in wonder and amazement, like, look at this beautiful thing that's there, and it's been there since time immemorial, and it unites every generation of humanity. Imagine if we could see those again. And I believe that is possible with cities. It's just a matter of initial solution would be with our current streetlights, instead of just ripping them out the ground and trying to replace them. Imagine if we put little like shields. So you have a light, you have your light here. Well, it's actually more like everywhere, and it's shooting up into the sky, and it gets reflected off the clouds and other particulates in the atmosphere and these sorts of things, and that's how you get the light pollution that we have. So initially, just put little blinders on it, like horse blinders, so that they're aimed directly down. Maybe next step would be, well, maybe not next step, but I imagine dynamic lighting, both with street lights. Like, what's more frustrating at 2 a.m. when you're on a long strip of road by yourself and you're having to stop at every red light and there's not a single car in sight, and you're like, well, I want to obey the laws and the rules, but it's kind of stupid, right? So imagine if there was dynamic lighting utilizing AI, camera technology and AI, for that reason. But anyway, to get back on the light pollution, put blinders, and then we can work toward, I don't know, LED might be the way. I don't have the knowledge there, but there are experts out there that know. And if we can make that happen, that'd be cool. Hydroponic farming for self-sustaining cities. I mentioned that 5 minutes ago. Students pursuing their interests without the tyranny of testing, standardized testing, and these sorts of things. People learn at different paces, and to force everyone to learn in the same way within a given time, and also to not have the resources for personalized attention. The whole one teacher, 20 plus students paradigm is ridiculous. Everyone knows this. I'm not saying anything new. And I say everyone knows this, that's not true. Some people are If they knew it, we wouldn't have it, right? So it's a matter of convincing strong enough arguments. Oh, and I think AI and virtual reality can be used very effectively in education. This is something I was very passionately thinking about in high school 10 plus years, 12 plus years ago, yeah. Initially, I wanted to go and reform the education system, but I was like, well, I want to make games and I want to do everything else, so maybe that's not my path. My path has been weird, but hey, I'm here. Minimal taxes. That's a whole thing we can get into. Herbal and holistic medication and personalized therapy. I think the three... Hold on. Where was that? The three P's. Pharmaceuticals. Preservatives, pesticides, and pharmaceuticals are synthetic, aka not natural, aka we probably shouldn't be putting these things in our body. Not calling for the immediate cessation, but let's pursue things like therapy and ultrasound and herbs. Oh, and exercise. Exercise does wonders. Please just exercise, bro. Yeah, dynamic traffic lights. Trusting each other's sincere pursuits. Creative Commons is better than copyright. I had GPT generate this morning. I was like, alright, what are the arguments for copyright law? Protection of economic rights. It's kind of based on fear. Control over use, based on pride and fear. Promotes professionalism and quality, pride. Legal clarity and enforcement. Copyright provides a legal framework for protecting and enforcing intellectual property rights, offering creators a straightforward way to address infringements. What is infringement? When everything in human history has been a remix. And we see copyright restricts things. Especially in the case, and I'm going to call them out, Nintendo. Nintendo, people love your games, and we love to just play your games and stream your games and have fun with it. And there was an orchestra in China, a friend just told me. A friend in China, it was a beautiful orchestra that said on the playbill they were going to play some, I think, Mario or Zelda music. And when the event started, it was delayed, and then suddenly they like edited the website and edited the playbill, made an announcement that they're no longer going to do a Nintendo song. And it was just so much ridiculousness that could have been avoided if Nintendo just lets go and relaxes. Like, stop being insane. Women free to be sensual. I love this one. So I was responding to this guy who, he just has such a, yeah, I regret me saying shit fucking animalistic take. That was a little too but it did bring something out of him and it led me to this tweet. But the point is, this woman, what was it? Rave moms. Oh, the whole rave moms and the rave culture scene. Like, if you actually go and you enjoy yourself, you realize everyone's just enjoying themselves. And yeah, women are beautiful. They're sexy. Allow them to be. You don't have to, like, oogle and google them. And in fact, you end up having way more fun if you just relax. And, like, yeah, hey, men, you can enjoy, you know, how they look. You just don't be fucking weird about it. They are beautiful. And you are handsome. Like, enjoy yourselves. That's the point. And so, this person was like, they want to make no, it was this. One look at her profile, and immediately I am met with exactly what I expected. After she, yeah, expected. So this guy is looking confirmation bias. Women are whores, or these sorts of things. After she's talking about women at the EDM raves feeling scared or endangered by men. That's exactly why. Hey, look at the slut shaming. That's exactly why women who dress and move like that always get looked at and asked things by men they would hate. So, oh, that justifies? Receive the very attention they claim is wrong and a problem, because it is. It's how you dress. Nope. That's the shit fucking animalistic take. You have a good body and are a good looking woman and dress like that. Biology is guaranteed to cause guys to look at it and say, damn, and go that direction. Yeah, and you supersede biology with consciousness. Thank you. cause some to go up and possibly ask suggestive questions or make those kinds of comments. Now, if you did it earnestly and genuinely, women can smell it. Women can smell desperation and they can feel sincerity. I promise you. Be sincere about it. Things might work out better in your favor. That reminds me, one of my dad's favorite quotes is, oh, you mean when you're nice to people, they give you things? Just be nice, be sincere, you'll be surprised. It's their choice that causes it. Oh my goodness. It's absurd so many women these days have the audacity then, and after all that, to ask why and claim it's not acceptable and it's creepy, because true. I know they're nowhere near dumb enough to legitimately not understand fully. It's people like you. You can appreciate women being sexy without being an uncontrollable ape. Let them be sexy, be nice to them, and sometimes they'll give you things. Acting abusive and objectifying will only hurt the both of you. Women are sexy, let them be free. I'm not even going to read that. I said, I think of many periods in history, especially Venice or France in their golden ages, where women were dressing free and the men were respectful and indulging in all of the fun offered to them because there was mutual respect and understanding of the sexes and an understanding of what a healthy society is like. The acknowledgement of what is self-evident. Hey, wasn't our country like founded on that? Anyway. Men free to pursue their sovereignty. There is an intrinsic thing within me that's like, I must set myself apart and pursue my creative expression. And that gets diminished by a lot of people. And that's why you see individuals like Andrew Tate rising and inspiring men who have been, wasting their life playing video games and watching porn and doing these things, because there are less and less opportunities in society actively, especially as money gets harder, the supply chain is restricted, AI now threatens to replace truckers and various other jobs, people working at fast food, which these jobs they suck. You're just spending hours droning on. Imagine if we can liberate them. That would be amazing. And just doesn't matter men or women or non-binary whatever, just people free to express themselves without labels. Imagine a government formed by the people. Imagine airships. I mentioned that 20 minutes ago. Imagine hanging gardens. What I mean by that is just cities, which the new term is solar punk, which I love too. Imagine if cities look like this. Same thing with imagine if we could see the stars again. It is just so inspiring and beautiful, it kind of calms you down. Not only that, but trees and foliage and fauna do emit chemicals that de-stress. They relieve anxiety. That's like, the chemical thing happening that we aren't aware of, but also just look at the beauty. And also green is the best color. And I want my future wife, so I want to be able to give my wife all of just free reign to design all the gardens and things that she wants to do. And whatever she wants to do, but I know she's going to love this. She wants to do that, and I want to be able to give that to her. Coral reef restoration. For many reasons. One, the whole earth relies on itself, and as we destroy one thing, we're destroying ourselves. Same thing if you get rid of bees, or like in China 50 plus years ago maybe, the 4 pests campaign. One of the pests, they were like, oh, sparrows are messing with our lives, let's kill the sparrows. So they did. That allowed earthworms and such to proliferate and kill crops, which then ended up causing lots of humans to starve. You understand, we are intrinsically connected to our environment. And another benefit thing of coral reefs is they have a hard, jagged structure that absorbs up to 97% of wave energy. Nearly 200 million people rely on coral reefs to calm their waters and protect 71,000 kilometers of coastline against erosion and storm damage. Please, can we save the reefs? Save the reefs, please. Here, I'm feeling cheeky. This is a clip from a song that I have coming up.
Computer fables protozoa. Save the reefs, please. Dying in this climate, hell they save relief. Trees burning for the clientele, the brimstone ocean swells. Plague there befalls us. All the beach sands dredge and our food supply kills us. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody talks about it. Why won't anybody talk about it? Can we please talk about it?
All the pain, all the hate. Can we please talk about it? Excuse me. Less space debris. Reusable things instead of disposable things. Animals free from abuse. Forests sustainably managed. Air purified from aerosols. Patient, present, and attentive discussion. When it comes to what's happening in Washington, D.C., the Parliament, just everywhere, everything. If we just like chill and like try to understand why the other person is doing the thing what they're doing, because I'm like, all right, imagine if Putin is not just evil, and he's like, I'm doing good. How is he doing good? What is his frame? Ask him that. What is Netanyahu's frame? What is Hamas's frame? Try to understand, without pointing a gun at each other, what are people's frames? Can we just talk this through without killing each other? Sewage not dumped into waterways. Military defense reallocated to planetary defense from asteroids and seismic activity. Truckers transition to technicians. It is an inevitability that AI will replace truckers. So instead of displacing them and making them angrier and wanting them to like fight the powers that be, fight whoever is responsible for ruining their livelihood, unable to feed their family, men have protective spirits. They just have an intrinsic desire to protect their family. And when you take that away from them, they want to kill you. End of story. Religion free from power and greed. No political careers. We need politicians who are actual people and in touch with society. Usually that means the best politicians are those who actually live in the world, have businesses, do whatever, and then there's an intrinsic number, an intrinsic few of humans that seem to be embodied with talents of organizational leadership, of listening to other people and fusing them together for solutions. In a calm way, hopefully. That the calm just comes from the state of the society. No covert lobbying. There's a lot of things there, but one thing that just really annoys me is bills that are produced that are hundreds of pages long, that are produced and put on the desks of senators and their aides within sometimes even just one day of it being voted on. And not only that, but the day of, there'll be new changes. And without any discussion, they go for vote. What the is happening? No imperialism or projecting superior lifestyles onto others. A sure way to get people to not embrace freedom and democracy is if you go over there and point guns at them and tell them, hey, this is for your own good. Afghanistan, Hezbollah, Hamas, you name it. Untangle labor hour minimums from insurance and tax codes. First of all, 40 hours is way too much. Some people are strong, hard workers, but especially as people get sicker and sicker, they're just unable to do it. And not only that, because more and more people are dropping out of jobs, there's increased demand on the people still working jobs. I have many friends, they're working harder than ever. It's literally unreasonable. But if they don't get a job and no one else is hiring. Things are so drastic right now, we need to fucking chill. And for other people, maybe we shouldn't work that much. We have people who are naturally artists. We have people who are naturally this, that, and the other. We should be able to scale that. Okay? And when women get pregnant and then have a baby and then need to nurse the baby, we need to be able to adapt for that and not push them beyond. And there's a whole other problem with the gender issue. I can only speak for America. But as we've given women the ability to work, businesses and tax legislation have just basically doubled the expectation. Oh, we have double the amount of people, so now we have double the expectation. That plus men feeling increasingly disenfranchised and getting consumed by video games and virtual things, the fake world, because they're also lacking an initiation into being a man. Women are working harder than men right now. I think straight up, on average, women are doing not only as much or more work at the job, but they're also taking care of the house and taking care of the kid. That's ridiculous. And I'm not blaming men, but it's all of these things together. Hey, we need to can we talk about it? Inspire and provide opportunities for the inner city youth. Again, inner city youth. Children don't understand much of the world. Every child is fundamentally trying to understand what the heck are we doing here? Why is there's just so much information and it's just so much, and it's worse now than it was in the 90s even, that they were always looking to our fellow friends and people to be like, hey, they seem to be doing this, and maybe they know the right way, because I'm trying to survive. Fundamentally, I just want to survive in this weird, confusing world. So what's he doing? And you see that with gang culture and these sorts of hedonistic, focused groups of people, which again, I don't think it's their fault specifically. I think this is all a cascade of blah, blah, blah. That, yeah, the most appealing opportunities for inner city youth often seem to be joining these people who are making lots of money and, you know, having lots of women and doing these things. There are so many rappers, from Kendrick Lamar to Big Boy to Killer Mike, who have talked about, are trying to help. They're the ones actively inspiring the inner city youth. That's not for me to do. But to promote more of their music and less of what's trending right now on TikTok and in the mainstream. What's played on radio and played at clubs. And I'm not saying it's bad and evil music. There's certainly times to have fun with that. I had my own share of fun, all of that stuff. But it is fundamentally, when it's not balanced right, that's when you have problems. And we have lots of problems like that. And so also providing opportunities for them. When you look at the cities that are really struggling in this country, they tend to be democratic leadership that, you know, tried to do a thing. And again, I believe everyone's frame is good. They just thought these sorts of policies and initiatives would work, and they haven't. And now we're seeing, oh, that extreme didn't work, so now we got a hard pivot back to conservatism, back to this alt-right type of thing. And that's not the solution either. Neither extreme is the solution, ever. So anyway, we can talk about that more. Work permits for migrants, as we secure the border before we eventually reconsider borders down the road. As it stands now, again, ends justify the means is not good, so all we have to do is focus on the present moment. Right now, we live in a world with borders, and there's good reasons for it. I think an argument could be made for no borders, but that time is not now. It just isn't. Right now, we need to secure all the borders in the world, but not out of hate, not out of you can't come here. We want to give you an opportunity. America was built on this. You know, I'm not going to just give you the rant that everyone else has given. America is what it is because of immigrants. What is happening today is ridiculous, but instead of treating them like invaders, we need to be able to give them the opportunity to integrate in the society, to like make the money. And when you do that and you show them love and compassion, even the people who are known terrorists that have come across the border might even start to have a change of heart. And if they don't, then we take them out of the country and try again. These sorts of things. And, oh, also, whole rant on prisons. Prisons are ridiculous. To throw people in cage hoping that they'd come out better only works, what, 5% of the time? I don't have the hard figures. That doesn't sound right. Imagine if, when you try to rehabilitate them, you actually give them, like, a little blip of life, of like, hey, this is kind of what we agree as a society life should be, and also personalized therapy. That isn't just some so-called priest coming in and say, repent your ways, and then, like, maybe you'll get pardoned. Maybe not, you know, maybe not your sentence, but certainly your life. And it's like, well, what if someone proves themselves to be good? And it takes time. It doesn't happen in a day. You learn bits and pieces over time. But eventually, yeah, you could be like, alright, you can now join society. And you don't have a permanent criminal record that prevents you from getting a job afterward. That only further exacerbates the problem. And this one. Oh, this is gonna be a little charged, but hear me out. Billionaires free to keep their wealth because coming at them with guillotines solves nothing. Again, anytime you try to solve a problem fighting fire with fire, you just have more fire. Imagine if you fought fire with water. Wow. And also, with simultaneous reductions in economic political harassment, they might even feel more charitable. No, if you redistribute Elon's $44 billion he paid on Twitter, it would not solve anything. Period. But if he felt more charitable to invest in organizations that, you know, were pursuing holistic means and blah, 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 and all these other simultaneous things that need to happen at once, you know, we might actually solve homelessness and hunger. We need peaceful transitions from paranoid power to loving service. We need a clear confusion with sincere inquiry. And I linked this because I demonstrated. There's a thread, people were like, oh, asking questions sincerely. This guy comes out of nowhere and says, sincerity on X, LOL. He doesn't believe that good people exist on X. Sincere, genuine people exist on X. Because the way the algorithms work and whatnot, you only see what you see. It's all cognitive bias. That's kind of the dangers of algorithm, is cognitive bias leading you into echo chambers that completely distort your worldview. And I am so blessed to be connected with so many people who actively challenge their own perceptions and courageously navigate the world through love and sincerity. It's amazing, and it has inspired me greatly. And so I asked him, I was like, all right, I believe everyone is being sincere regardless, even he didn't. So I asked, hey, are you sincerely a sellout? Why do you feel you have to be? And because I actually was like, why? Look at this. Sellout, hashtag sellout, forming starving artists. Oh, okay. The way that he was doing things wasn't working for him, and maybe an Andrew Tate, whatever, got to him, and he's like, yeah, I need to do this. I feel it best describes me, a financially successful artist with fluid values other than my own satisfaction, which is my highest, most consistent value. So initially I was like, fluid values, but own satisfaction, okay. Glad it's your highest. You have to be careful with your satisfaction. Is it hedonistic or is it soulful? And I said, as long as your satisfaction isn't double-edged, because if it's hedonistic, like doing drugs, it's double-edged because you're going to feel like crap the next day, for example. Money isn't everything, but happy you feel successful. I don't think money is everything, just super necessary. Thank you for saying that my feelings made you happy. Wow, this guy hasn't had people acknowledge his feelings and stuff in a long time, or very often. Wow, imagine if we did that. And I said, I'm happy, because this is real. I'm happy seeing other people happy. I find that when I lift other people up, I myself am lifted up. Either directly in kind, they want to help me back, or just my spirits are happier. Because we're, again, interconnected with coral reefs and these sorts of things. Yes, money is necessary, but the pursuit of it itself was devastating to my mind and heart. I've been poor the last few years, but I'm so happy. Challenging times. And this is what's hard to convey. How can you be poor and happy? I am. And it's because I was like, I have to figure myself out. I have to figure out why I'm so depressed and anxious and afraid of everything, from the conspiracies that are occurring, if they're even valid or not, and blah, blah, blah. And not even just conspiracies. When you look at the trajectory of civilization right now, it is not okay. But it'll be okay. And so you asked me, do money and happiness feel mutually exclusive to you, like you can't have both? I did for the very longest time. But now I feel I can have both finally. I denied myself money for so long because I thought it would corrupt me. Money is the root of all evil is a psyop. Greed is, which is actually a downstream of fear of the future not being certain. And when you're afraid of the future not being certain, as no one knows, and again, that's why when you have ends justify the means mentality, you're operating through fear. And it comes across as greedy. Oh, they're trying to take over the world, ESG, the one world government. It's because they want money and power. No, what if they actually genuinely think they've been chosen by God to transition humanity to a better world, and they think first we have to, I don't know, reduce the population, because the rate of population is kind of insane and out of control, but it's manageable without killing people, and take all these, other steps. I think that's wrong. Money is a fantastic form of energy I can use. I now have unlocked my ability to receive money, and I haven't received any money yet in 8 months, 7 months. My bad. But now I can, and what I did a few days ago was write out specifically, if I received $1 million, what would I spend it on? And you can find it in one of my tweets. And if I had $50 million, if I had $100 million, I could do so much. And that's what I want to do now. And he's like, yeah, he agreed with me. Things like money, drugs, sex, etc. are never the corrupting agent. It is ourselves, our mind. Agreed. Greed is evil, and which he defined, I like this. Greed is evil, being an unsustainable, inhumane thought loop. But without greed, little money is needed and does no harm. This is true. We all don't need to be millionaires and billionaires. I myself actively rejected going off to work for Google or Amazon when I was you know, the shining star, the student, founded a hackathon and multiple clubs and all these things back in 2014, 2015 at my university. I had friends go off to these companies and they wanted me to go, and it just felt wrong. I wanted to stay in my city next to my best friend and all my other friends and just live like a humble life out of love, even if I made less money. And then 2 years ago, there was an opportunity to work at Amazon that was a perfect fit for me. I would have been a software engineer on an AI team and been able to transition onto the, you know, as an AI engineer or something. And that sounded really awesome. And it would have paid me a lot of money, and it would have moved me closer to this woman that I was fancying. And I loved her so much. But I could not bring myself to work for Amazon. Not only just because of that, I didn't want to spend 40 plus hours a week working for money, and giving my time and energy away to something that, like, yeah, I kind of want to do, but as you can see, I kind of want to do everything in the world. Maybe unrealistic, but I'm going to try. I want to make games and do all these things. And I thanked him for being sincere, and, like, yeah, who knows if, that was a good thing. Oh, imagine if parents listen to their children. Here, a lot of people have watched this video, but we're gonna watch it also because I need a drink and to stop talking for 2 minutes. It's a little stretch. Just watch this. It's incredible. Imagine if every family did this. Wow, humanity would be amazing. We don't need brain-computer interfaces to evolve consciousness. We need loving mothers.
You hurt my feelings by not going outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a smart choice. You know, earlier I couldn't go outside, so I was still a little sad.
Yeah. But that was a consequence.
But after I was a little sad, I was a little bit upset. More than a little.
More than
How is this 4-year-old so coherent? It's amazing. That is an amazing woman right there. You can see it reflected in her child.
a little upset. Yeah. We all get upset sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't get what we want all the time.
Mama also don't. Papa also don't. But it's hard for babies to do that. You know, earlier, baby dropped the plate and Papa got angry at her, and I told Papa to make this. I told Papa to stop being slow and make a small choice.
Holy crap! I forgot about that.
Yeah, but earlier I chose to be a tiny bit mad, but after a while I was okay.
You're okay?
Mm-hmm.
Life is like that. We get upset, we get mad, we cry.
That's emotions, Mama.
That's emotions, I know. And then we feel better after we cry.
Yep.
Incredible.
You do, even when you're upset or angry. Always different kinds of feelings. Even though when you're scared.
That's another emotion.
Yeah, a different kind of emotion. No, I was wrong. Today, I
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I have emotions, right? I guess. It's incredible.
Even though when I was that mad, you still love me that so much.
Of course. Always.
Yeah, I love you too.
Wow. Anyway, more of that. Imagine if VR was utilized in educational and connective ways. Imagine transparent, decentralized blockchain technologies for voting and governance, which Charles Hoskinson explained, I think, pretty coherently on the video we just watched earlier. Imagine synthetic biology for regenerating and improving capabilities, including physiological and human-computer interfaces. I did also rip that from him during watching the video live. Ultrasonic technology to replace invasive surgical operations. That one, I saw a little special, I think it was on 60 Minutes a few months ago about that. And I was like, oh, no, it probably wasn't 60 Minutes. Probably was just